views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Looking for something, a new way, a new understanding, a connection, some comfort. You've got questions, and Light on Living puts the spotlight on all the answers so you can shine. Lift and lighten the load of life's challenges and learn simple and easy ways to live a healthy, happy life. You'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you. You're invited to hear new, see different, and feel more as Lisa shines the light on living.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Light. I'm Life Coach Lisa, holistic nutritionist and life coach, helping to lighten the load of the life's challenges. Today, building your body beyond beauty. All right, so absolutely, I was dazzled by the locations and of the hikes, such as the Grand Canyon and things like this that I heard about when I started speaking with Michael and his wife. I was just so amazed and thought, wow, I was just all hooked on sharing with all of you listeners, but more so about the locations at first. Like, how cool is this? We can meet from around the world and hike and explore. But then as we dove deeper into conversation, I realized that yes, that's one aspect, but that's why we are doing today's show. It is about building your body beyond beauty. And I, for one, absolutely love functional fitness. I'm so grateful. I value that I have a body that functions and works and can do the things that I need to do. But today, Michael shares with us. Now, Michael is the founder of Pursuit Fitness. He and his wife run this amazing personal fitness business. That, yes, they do have their own location, but they do it online, and they take these amazing hikes. But I've invited Michael Finigan here to share with us why and how we actually can take shine the light on why we have built such a strong and confident and beautiful and healthy fit body, because it's something that you wouldn't expect. So I'd like to welcome Michael Finigan to the show. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Lisa. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing your time. And I think what it was is when I first started talking to you, I realized that, oh my goodness, you have built this way of allowing people to celebrate their fitness in another way than just showing off, quote unquote. Did I word that kind of okay?
That's a perfect way of putting it. You know, it sounds silly. So many trainers and coaches out there work the aesthetics, which is fantastic, and there's a huge role for that, and it increases self-confidence and all that good stuff. But what we found was once we achieved those goals, whether it's bigger biceps or abs or legs, whatever it was, what are we going to do with those goals? So we found that we got people a lot more excited, and we can actually touch lives and show people that fitness can give back to you when we have a certain level of strength and endurance. And that's really where the trips came from, or the idea or the concept of our adventure trips.
Adventure trips. Oh, sorry, you know what? I do remember seeing that now, but you're right, adventure trips.
So it's funny. So if we go back in time, that's really how I got into them. Was it used to be a course in high school. Where we train as a group, and we'd go to Mount Washington on the borderline of New Hampshire and Vermont, and we'd cycle and hike. So we do hiking and cycling trips. And it touched my life and impacted me in so many ways. And it was interesting. I used to be a competitive hockey player and a competitive athlete. I never really did an event, like an adventure trip like that, where we could all win, instead of hockey, where it was always win-lose, or in competition where it was win-lose. So it impacted my life so much. I wanted to share that experience with others, and it just wrapped right into my passion of kind of changing and improving people's lives. And we just choose to do it through fitness.
Because you really sparked something that's come up in my life a lot, and you just said something where it's win-win versus win-lose. I do want to ask you your opinion on this. You're the perfect person, actually, as you just shared with us, you being in competitive, sports and such. There is a big debate, and I'm throwing this at you. There is a big debate about how we are not by supporting the win-win, nobody wins or loses, we are creating children who no longer know how to push through their comfort zone to grow and expand. Like now you're bringing this up and I feel like you've just supported the win-win and you are still strengthening and supporting and growing.
Yeah, it's so interesting. My wife and I just had our first baby. She is 10 months this week. Yay. And what's amazing is that my wife and I both used to be ultra competitive athletes. We wanted to win at everything. But I think the difference is the culture you bring them up in. So, and it's not to compliment or take away from any sport, but say in the hockey world, it's very much win-lose. So for me to win and succeed, you need to lose. Right. Where you look at the triathlon or the marathon world, it's all about your personal best, or the strength training world is about personal best. So you and I can both compete in a weightlifting competition for argument's sake, and we can both win. So you could have a PB and I could have a PB regardless of our medals, and that's the success of it. Oh. So it's really interesting. So in the gym, one of our services is called private group training. And picture a boot camp, but the difference is everyone gets their own program. So we have a limited number of people in each class, and we can train them all individually because they all get their own program. And we do it in a way where the coach kind of coaches and guides everyone through it, but we can have someone who's training for the Grand Canyon beside someone who has, I'm just making something up, is rehabbing a knee injury beside an elite athlete. And what we've done is we've created a culture that it's all about win-win all around. So while you're rehabbing your knee, it's important for me to support you the same way you're supporting me as an athlete.
And what's really neat about that, now you're actually highlighting this in my brain as it's organized and everything, that having somebody, like you said, with, say, a knee injury versus sitting right beside somebody who's training to be an athlete or is an athlete, that's inspiring for each person to see that there's maybe the athlete does need to focus, I don't mean come down on the level at all, but maybe go to another area of repair and recovery that they weren't quite paying attention to. And maybe the person who has that injury can still be inspired to say, I can still, do my personal best and increase and get there. It's inspiring on both levels, on both sides.
Oh, 100%. So it's interesting. So in these classes, the people in the classes almost become kind of a group or a family that they become more accountable to each other than they do to me, the coach, or one of my trainers who's the coaches. And what we do every year is we do a client appreciation barbecue. And at that barbecue, we have a fun survey and we say, who under the Pursuit Training brand or gym has inspired you to improve your health?
Aww.
And the incredible thing is call them votes, if you would.
Okay.
People who get the most votes for being the most inspirational are our seniors who are lifting weights, or our seniors who are running marathons, or our seniors who have overcome replaced hips or knees or injuries. And it's funny because the strongest athlete in the gym is inspired by them more so than they are someone who's lifting thousands of pounds or has biceps as big as my legs kind of thing.
Right. Almost like this who are, I don't want to being a senior in adversity, but something like that, like people who are overcoming adversity. So somebody who's taking the courage to do something that maybe society isn't quite like, oh, you can't do that. You're too injured, hurt, small, scrawny, like all these things. And that's inspiring to do that.
Of course. Well, it's interesting. So if we look back, so we've done the Grand Canyon. We've led that hike. This is our 13th or 14th time coming up this October when we head out. And we use guides when we're there, and they take care of our people and they take care of us. And when we started using guides, you have to send in kind of the stats or the information of each hiker.
Okay.
And the first time we went, and the second time we went as well, the guides didn't want to take us. And we didn't understand why. Well, they didn't want to take us because they had never taken so many people over 60 into the canyon.
Oh, my goodness.
So we kind of laughed, and we had to give them the whole story. We said, look, on paper, we had one woman who was 72 and has had more injuries than we can count. Another woman was 73 and had a replaced hip. Another woman was 71, and she had a replaced knee and a replaced hip. So we kind of laughed. We said, okay, we get it. On paper, we don't look like a strong group. I promise we're ready. We will be ready. Wow. And the incredible thing is our seniors have actually, from that group, or those two groups, they've actually changed the viewpoints of some of these hiking groups or guides that we've used, and they were just blown away. And it's a compliment to us, but it's actually more inspiring to me to watch these not about the age, but these people who, frankly, on paper shouldn't be able to do what they're doing. And they're not just doing it. They're doing really well, and they're really enjoying it. Right.
They're actually, quite honestly, pioneers of change, leading the way.
Exactly.
Because this is exciting. I do want to share with us, because we still got lots of time for that first commercial. When you say an adventure trip, like you just talked about, going to the Grand Canyon or, let's say Dominican, but let's pick the Grand Canyon. What does that mean? Like are you literally going into the Grand Canyon?
Yes. So, so what we do is you can hire any guide to bring you into the Grand Canyon. The difference is, unfortunately, you don't know what you're getting until you get there. So my team and I, we've done it so many times. What we do is we put groups together so that you can kind of build friendships along the way as we train as a group. We do group training hikes. So typically we do 9 months of training, and that includes our online training service, which I'm sure we can talk about later. We do we do monthly group hikes, so distant hikes. Okay. And then what we do is we actually go and we stay in Sedona. So we do some hiking around in Sedona, which is one of the most beautiful areas. It's got numerous vortexes. And then we hike in the Grand Canyon. Now, back when we started, we used to take you down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and then right back up to the top in the same day. They've since changed. The national park has changed what they deem as appropriate or not. So what we have to do now is we go down, we camp for one night, and then we hike up the next day.
You're literally camping in the canyon, like you're sleeping in the canyon.
It is the most incredible experience. So we sleep on the bottom of the canyon, right beside the Colorado River. And it's so we're there with you every step of the way. So it sounds silly. We keep going back every year. We've been at so many times that, my family and friends say, aren't you sick of it yet? The amazing thing is it's not. I mean, I wouldn't go back and do it myself every year because I've had the experience so many times. But the beautiful thing is seeing it other people experience for the first time. And a lot of the times they come a second time. So they come the first year by themselves and they bring their spouse or their kids or their friends the following year. And that's really kind of the beauty of the canyon.
And on that, with the beauty, I love you said the beauty of the canyon. We're going to go to commercial here, but as soon as we come back, we're going to talk about the consciousness state of somebody who wants to do that.
Beautiful.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Welcome back to The Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
We're back speaking with Michael Finigan, owner of Pursuit Training. And before I go jumping back into the canyon, goodness, that would be awful. Before jumping back into the canyon, okay, so you just shared with us that there is a 9-month training program. I mean, this is not something you just go, hey, I heard Michael on Light on Living, and I'm going to sign up and just go, this October. When you're speaking of the training what is the mindset, like the conscious? Where is a person's head, basically, where they would say, I want to do that. I'm drawn to it, and I need something in my life. Like, what do you find that people who they do contact you about doing this trip, where are they in their lives with their fitness and that level?
It's a really interesting question, and a lot of the times our groups are really eclectic. We've had groups do it, like corporate groups do it as team building adventures, because one of the aspects of this is that it's too hard to do by yourself. Everyone needs support when you go through, whether it's mental support, whether it's that friend that pats you on the back, or whether it's physical support. So, for example, I'm a little guy. I can only carry so much weight, where my team members are pretty big guys, so they can carry a lot of weight. So a lot of the times, the people that are attracted to an adventure trip like this, they're looking for an experience, and they're looking to, their mental space would almost be, they want to accomplish something. They want to do something amazing. This is a bucket list opportunity for them. And a lot of the times, it's kind of amazing, and it gets almost emotional sometimes. A lot of the times, people bring someone who they really love with them, because it's an experience they don't want to do by themselves. They want to share it with someone else. So my part of my team is one of my brothers and my sister-in-law, and it's been incredible for me to have them on all these adventures or adventure trips that we've done, because it's special for me to share it with someone like that. My wife has come on a few of the trips, and those have always been the best trips because we get to have that experience as a couple, where very few people get that experience, let alone someone you care about that's with you.
I wasn't even expecting you to say that, which is great. It's that actually, because see, this is the beauty of these shows, and you do them so live like this, and so it can do it in conversation, because I do, growing up, when I'm little and you start, when I say little, you're teenage and you start dating, you're not really thinking about what makes the best relationship. You're just fumbling around learning the roles of your own self, let alone somebody else. And as I got, older and started dating more, my dad always said, he said, whether it's a boyfriend or relationship you're going to be in or a friendship, he goes, it's important to have a shared common goal. And he meant not the little ones like, we both want a cat and we both want, this or that. But he goes, when you have a common goal, what you're talking about, an accomplishment, right? And then having a shared common goal, and then add in the amazingness of it and then the experience of it, I can really see what you mean when you say it's emotional, because I'm thinking about my dad right now. He said, a relationship or a friendship or whatever is going to be its amazingness when you have that shared common goal and experience. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that part.
Oh, no, thank you. That's exactly it. And that's how we can create win-win situations where we don't race. We joke, the faster you get to the top, it just means you have to wait longer for the slower person. We all win by getting in and out. You know what I mean? So all of these trips, it's funny. It's almost like a group of competitive individuals that are there as a team, if that's a way of putting it. They're competing, but it's almost like they're competing over who can help each other for more, or who can give more to the group. So that's where it's kind of amazing. And we ask kind of what people get attracted to it. It's worded perfectly, because so often you'll sit down with a business coach, or you'll sit down and look at the business as a business, not as what you're giving. You'll say, okay, I need to have X number of people to financially do this, and we make this much money, and it's going to cost us that much money. Mm-hmm. But the problem is with these kind of trips, we don't sell people. And it sounds silly, if I have to sit down and sell someone on the idea of doing this, they're not the right person to do a trip like this. Right. These trips have to attract you, because they're difficult, but again, they can be life-changing difficult. Mm-hmm. And that's where the power of the group kind of brings everyone through. And everyone kind of has their own transformation or their own moment, whether it's in the canyon or one of the training hikes. Everyone has a breakdown, and then the group pulls them through. Aww. So that's where it's interesting. The people that join us, typically, if you look at it kind of age range or stage of life, typically we get kind of 45 plus, like 45 years old and plus. Mm-hmm. But we have had a number of circumstances where someone's brought their teenager. So their son or daughter would be, 17 or 18. I mean, what a cool thing to say, I'm hiking the Grand Canyon with my dad.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty powerful moment for them.
Yeah, and this is coming back to where I was so attracted to what, that's why I was attracted to the statement of it's a beyond beauty. When you shared with me that this gives somebody an opportunity to like not just to test their newfound strength and confidence in body, but to highlight it. When somebody has finally gone through the 9 months, let's say, they've trained and now they're in the canyon and they've accomplished it at the end, what is shining for them now? I know that the confidence, but let's go deeper than let's go deep in within confidence. When somebody's confidence is changed, when they get to experience their strength and truly get to say, this is what I've changed in my life, what is the benefit or that outcome for that person to find that way to do it?
It's so interesting because it's different for each person. I wish I could just write a list of these are the things we've seen, but it hits everyone so differently because what is empowerment to someone, right? Mm-hmm. So we've had people in the past who've gone home and finally proposed to their girlfriend. We've had people go home and finally say, you know what, this relationship isn't working and I wasn't strong enough to say so. Mm-hmm. We've had people who've gone home and started businesses. We've had people who have quit their jobs and gone after their dream, whatever their dream may be. What I find, which are all incredible moments for them, but what I find the most inspiring for me is people go home and they'll tell their loved ones, whoever that may be, that they need to start taking care of themselves, not for the health benefits, but because they want to have experiences like that and share them with those people again. Mm. So, and that's where these trips, and whether it's fitness or not, and whether it's an extreme trip like this, or whether it's being able to hike or play with your grandkids, it's people that come and they kind of realize their new level of health and fitness and power and impact they can have on people. They want to share that because it's been so life-changing for them, or such a moment created for them. They want other people to experience moments like that. Right. Is there a point where... Sorry? Oh, no, continue, please. I'm going to jump on fear in a second. That's all. That's okay. So, that's okay. So one of the things that happens to the canyon is that people get in, and you don't realize that pictures just don't give it due justice. Mm. There's just no picture of the canyon where we've yet to see where it's really blown us away. So because of their health and fitness and a new level of empowerment, now they've experienced something that so few people have experienced. And I might be messing up the stat here, but I do know the one thing. So I think the Grand Canyon has something like 2.5 million guests per year. Oh, wow. Of that, and again, don't quote me on the stat, but I know that the one part that is true is 1% of those people go to the bottom. Oh. So 1% of the annual visitors of the Grand Canyon get to experience what health and fitness has now given these people who have trained and prepared for an adventure like this or other trips as well. So you think of that, it's pretty powerful. 1% of the people that have showed up actually go to the bottom of the canyon. And just because, like you're saying, out of this not quoted stat, you can see how very few people do and how unique this is. I would love to have a sneak peek if you could tell. I know you have some beautiful pictures on your brochures and stuff, and I know, like you said before to me, that each trip you get about 1,000 pictures coming back because everybody hands in their camera. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So what we do is we share our pictures. So if there's 10 people on the trip, for argument's sake, instead of everyone saying, here, take the same picture 10 times with this camera, we take everyone's photos at the end of each day, and everyone gets a memory stick at the end of the trip with everyone's pictures. Okay, gotcha. And I think that's what, so you're saying, if I know we could look at these pictures, but what you're saying, there's not even a picture out of all those pictures that we described. But what is it kind of like down there? I'm imagining going down this big hole, and now I'm imagining a river. So now I can't even. What makes it difficult, and what does it seem like around you? So it's one of those. So there's a few kind of moments that you have in the canyon. So we hike the donkey trails, so there are times that we'll see donkeys or mules or horses, and they actually have the right of way. So one of the fears that the average person has when they come to us is they say, am I going to fall off and fall into the canyon? Right. I guess in theory you could, but in reality you're not going to. Because the paths are big enough and flat enough that these huge animals can walk past and you can get out of the way.
Okay.
So, and we do switchbacks. So if you picture a wall being the canyon, the side, the rim, it's like we're doing S's or Z's back and forth as we go down into the canyon. And what's interesting is, so the first few hours into the canyon, you don't realize how far you're going, and the ooh and the ahs are still happening.
Right.
And one of the amazing parts, it always hits everyone differently each year, but they get this kind of twinkle in their eye. You can see when it happens. They look out and they realize that they are so far away from home, or so far away from the top, and yet so far away from the bottom. They almost have to just be in the moment. Because the only way out is to keep on going. So you feel so, not insignificant, but you feel so small, and you kind of realize, some people have that realization that, my problems really aren't that big because look where I am right now. Look how insignificant my problems are to the rest of the world. This is one spot. Or they have that moment of kind of serenity where nothing else matters because they're stuck being in the moment. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no, your phone doesn't work.
You was right about that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There goes half of our guests. There's no Wi-Fi. Yeah. But that's also the beauty of it, is you have to enjoy the people around you. And that's part of why we train. We don't want people to go together and be strangers and kind of begrudge doing the trip. We want people to enjoy it and experience each other and experience the trip together. I mean, it's always more fun having people you know and people you're friendly with than vice versa, right?
Yeah. You've just absolutely reminded me of one thing. A commercial's going to sneak up on us, but I will remember when we come back. But I want to ask you, how many hours does it take to get down there to your first day?
So we take two different trails, and the first trail on day one typically takes about 5 to 6 hours to get down.
Oh.
Yeah, in that kind of realm. And then on the way up, varying from group to group, we're probably looking at 9 hours, maybe 10 to get out. So this is where the training becomes so important. And a lot of people think that going up.
We will talk about the training and my important thoughts when we come back.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
We're back. We're speaking with Michael Finigan of Reading. And all joking aside about the no Wi-Fi in the Grand Canyon, I do love that you highlighted about having to be in the moment. And what came to mind, I know there's this fantastic these people who they highlight there's a space. I almost wish I could remember what it's called. You know when you take a breath in and then you take a breath out, but then there's that, they talk about that special point of when you take the breath in and you're holding it, that space that's held just before you exhale. And when you mentioned about that being a moment, like you're too far to go, you're far enough that you've gone in, but you're not far, you're close enough yet, you're in, that you have to be in the moment. And you reminded me of that exact moment where I really did that breath in and you just hold, it's that moment. And you have to be in the moment when you do that. And that was so beautiful that you, first of all, you reminded me, so thank you. And what a beautiful thing. I would never have thought that. You really are. Like you're committed, but you're not where you are going yet.
Well, and it's interesting. It's to add to it. We've had a few people who have kind of let the fear get the better of them along the way.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the one person, they said, okay, that's it, Mike, I'm out. I said, I totally get it. I said, you're out. So it's going to take you 7 hours to get back up, or it's going to take you 2 more hours to get to the bottom.
Aww.
Of course, it's easier for them to get to the bottom. But it is funny, talking about true commitment. Once you get to that certain point, it's easier to keep going and get through it than it is to stop and turn around. And really stopping and turning around isn't the option, right?
Yeah, and had they turned around, they would have to do it by themselves, too. Like
of course. 100%. And that's the power of the group. The group wouldn't let anything like that happen to anyone.
Right. And it's fun. That's the first thing. And before we leave the Grand Canyon and talk about the training of it, I'm still in my head. I'm still visualizing it in the canyon right now with you. And because I'm such a girly girl, and I do want to ask this, like, so sleeping, like you just pitch a tent. Is there accommodations down there? What's going on at the bottom of the canyon here?
Well, because you're so tired by the time you get to the bottom, they are the most beautiful accommodations you could ever imagine.
Oh!
For the rest of us. No, so what we do is you carry your gear in. So the packs that we carry are about 40 pounds in that kind of realm. And you carry a sleeping bag, you carry your tent, and you carry it's like a blow-up pillow. And what's interesting is I am personally not a camper. Everyone else in my family is. I am not. So when I first heard we had to camp, I wasn't all that thrilled about the idea. But I do have to say, the equipment that we get with the guiding companies out there is the absolute best of the best. It is so light and it is so comfortable. You'd be amazed. We'll have the whole kind of campsite structure set up for 11 people. It's set up within maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it's amazing the gear, the technology and the gear that they have. And even people with kind of back problems or neck problems, their sleeping bags and their blow-up mattresses are so good. It's really not an issue. It's really not at all.
That helps a lot of people. Because, when I was bringing up the question about, fears, what are fears? Like, I certainly didn't have a fear of falling. I would be like, ooh, how are we going to sleep? How are we going to eat? Like, do you guys, how do you get water? Do you have to bring your own water? My goodness. So, and that's kind of the method of the madness. So on the first day of the trail we go down, there are 2 water stops. But so for 6 hours, we've yet to have an issue with water. On the next day, on day 2, when we come up, there are 3 water stops. So that's where it changes. And so you can carry all the water that you need. Again, water's never been an issue. We carry food. You carry a lot of your own kind of snacks and extras. But a lot of the times, this is where we go against what typical nutrition would suggest, and we want the most dense calorie foods at the lightest weight. So that's where trail mix can come in. That's where peanut butters or nut butters and things like that can come in, because you're just so dense with calories and they're not heavy. You can carry meats with you, like chicken breasts or sliced meat, but it's so hot in the canyon. I mean, it can hit 100. We've hiked in 100 in the morning, let alone later on in the peak of the day, that you have to eat that meat relatively quick. It's got to be your first snack of the day. Okay, wow. So you got temperatures of 100. Oh my dear goodness. Okay, can we bring a little electric battery operated fans?
100%. However, we will make fun of you, but you're more than welcome to do so.
I can handle it. I can handle that. Well, I love that you said that there is some, see, this is where, that you do offer the training ahead of time. And for such a time, like 9 months is not, that's some serious training. That's some serious preparation work. So, you'd be, it would be like, shocker, by the way, we're leaving tomorrow and you're going to have to deal with 100-degree weather. Like this training allows, and anybody from around the world, right? They have to be with you close to Toronto here in Ontario in Canada.
100%. So one of our kind of standing principles is that we want you to enjoy this trip and not slowly die through the trip.
Right.
So so it's funny. And this sounds egotistical. It doesn't mean to come across like that. But years ago, there was a list of the top 25 or 20 most dangerous hiking trails in the world. And the Grand Canyon, what we do, I think, was number 7, and Mount Washington was number 11, and the Dominican one we did was number 15. And I say it like that. Yeah, I say it like that. What's interesting is that, so they actually track them by injuries and deaths.
Oh, wow.
But what's more interesting is when you look at it, 'cause I'm sure some people listening are getting scared of this, almost 90% of them all came from lack of preparation. So we want to, and that's where it comes into play. I mean, a lot of the times, the biggest fear in the Grand Canyon is dehydration and heat exhaustion. Well, if that happens, it's because of lack of preparation. You're wearing the wrong clothes, you don't have enough water, you don't have your electrolytes, you don't have your salt pills. Yeah. Those are all things that we can prepare for.
I mean, you could be working in a warehouse and, on flat ground and have those.
Exactly. So our goal, we joke where if we don't do our job right, we're in big trouble, as in our hikers are in big trouble. But again, that's where we come into play, and we want you to be so over-prepared for this adventure that we want you to enjoy the whole experience and not begrudge it and hike through and not get any pictures of you smiling, because it is something you're not going to forget, right?
Right. Just a highlight again, the reason why I'm absolutely fascinated, because a lot of people, you can go on trips and hikes and do all these things, but really this is about after 9 months, and we will jump into the training part, but after the 9 months to say, okay, that's great that, I'm really toned and I have this and I'm strong and I have this, but this gives an opportunity for someone who has committed and done this work to experience they're carrying 40 pounds down a canyon. This is something they can, to highlight their personal best.
Well, and what's interesting, to go back to our conversation before, it's the kind of people that come. The majority of people that come are not athletes.
Right.
They're people who have never been athletes. They've never competed. They've never had to work as hard at their health and fitness to achieve something like this. So it's almost like this is their championship game as they jump in. They just won a championship on their first time playing the sport. And that's our preparation for them, right? And that's why it's so important for us to take all the time we need, and typically it's 9 months, to prepare each individual to ensure that they have a really successful trip. And the successful trip is that they enjoy themselves. I don't care how long it takes to get in or how long it takes to get out. That's the least of our concern. Right. I want you to walk away and say, that was a really powerful trip. That was a really fun trip. I can't wait for the next one.
I like that.
And that's where preparation is so key.
Yes. I love that, preparation to a powerful trip. I love the letter P and P there. But let's talk a little bit about that preparation, about the training. We've got in 9 months, you can really transform. First of all, I'm going to say yes, transform a body, and also because as a nutritionist, I like to share this with everybody. Literally, you can see a complete turnaround in one's health, in their energy level and everything in literally 3 days. If somebody really turned their diet around in 3 days, even if they just went on, a very supportive, just got rid of eating crap, stopped doing the bad stuff, they literally would see a huge difference. So when you say 9 months, I'm looking at oh my gosh, there's a lot that can happen in 9 months.
100%. So we train them in a few different ways. So whether I do an online assessment, where we do kind of a Skype or a FaceTime kind of situation, or we do an in-person assessment, our training is always linked to your biomechanics. And biomechanics, in the simplest of ways, is how the body relates to different joint angles. So let's take a simple example of a woman who wears high heels every day. Okay. And she comes in and she says, I have back pain, and that's my concern about training for the canyon. Well, because her ankles are so high, her knees typically will flex forward, which means that to counterbalance, she pushes her hips back and she has to arc her back up to stand tall. So what happens is there's a lot of pressure put on the wrong places, and the wrong muscles are doing the wrong jobs. So to correct this, it's actually not a back problem, it's an ankle problem. Right. So that's why it's important for us to assess biomechanically and then train them individually for whatever is biomechanically efficient. So all that is, in big words, we have to find the issue, not the problem.
Aw, I love that.
Right? And that's how we can address them. And that's where we've had a lot of success with people who have had injuries or pain that no one else could really address or fix. And we figure it out through the biomechanics. So we do online training for everyone. So we have people across the country who are on our online system. It's an amazing app. So you download the app on your phone.
You've created the app, sorry?
No. So what we do is it's a licensing agreement.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So you would download the Pursuit Training app that we would invite you to download. You fill out all of our forms. We have a monthly fee for our Grand Canyon, obviously, as part of the packaging. Okay. The package cost.
So if somebody's listening. If somebody's listening right now, if they're going, I don't want to do the Grand Canyon. However, wow, this sounds like something else I could like to do. That they could do this. It has it's not tied to doing a trip. This is also just online training. Okay.
Completely, yeah. So we do groups, we do group events, we do individuals. We have corporate teams that come in. They'll train for, say, Tough Mudders or Spartan races or whatever adventure race they do. And we do it all through this app as well. Because the beauty of it is that it sends you your program every morning. But it also shows you, so every time you log in, I can see, or your coach can see, programs are still written individually for you. And the best part of it is every exercise is linked to a video of one of my coaches or a video that I've vetted of that exercise. A lot of times people will read a book and say, oh, that's great, I'm going to do squats. There's thousands of variations of a squat that all have different impacts. Yeah. So we need to address that, and that's where this can get really individual. One of our core principles is that everyone's an individual, so a program has to be written for the individual, not the masses. Unfortunately, a program written for everyone means it's really written for no one.
That, you know what, on that note, because we're going to get that commercial again, there we go. I want to talk a little bit more about that app when we come back, because this is so handy. We'll be right back.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the shelterpetproject.org.
We're back. We've got Michael Finigan from the Pursuit Training. And just before we left off there, absolutely want to highlight what you just said. A program written for everyone is really a program written for no one. You really reminded me of something when you were talking about the women who are wearing high heels and such. I was going to Pilates class, and I remember the instructor shared that women who, have become pregnant. Oh, yeah, your wife just had a baby 10 months ago, as you just shared. What can happen even sometimes is that I'm going to say this probably incorrectly, but the abdomen muscle can be torn in such a way that if we as women, we think, oh, I need to work that even more because to get it tighter, but really it's torn in a way that the more we work it, the more it bulges out, but we wouldn't know that. And you're just reminding me again of that, and then saying how, having that assessment done, which I want to call it like awareness, into the biomechanics of everything, is the way to go with it. Anybody really, it almost sounds like the safe way to go.
100%. And it sounds like a lot of times people have a lot of good intentions and a lot of good efforts. Mm-hmm. They're just ill-informed. And in the health and fitness industry, and nutrition would fall into it as well. There's so many self-help books that all mean well, but they're written for the masses. So if you're a unique situation, which most of us are, written for the masses is not going to help.
Right. And when somebody goes to what is the app called? Like, what would somebody do to find that app?
So what happens is it's called the Trainerize app, and Trainerize are the developers. What we are is we license it so it's right under Pursuit Training.
Can you spell that train because I'm not hearing it?
Yeah, Trainerize, so TRAINERIZE.
IZE. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a personal trainer or strength coach app.
Okay.
And really it's made, individuals can use it as well if they want to create their own programs and track them and all that good stuff. But it's really made for trainers and strength coaches. We can write programs and have videos linked to them and create a lot of accountability. The amazing thing is it can even sync with your Fitbit. We can write nutritional programs for you that link with it. It can link with all of your different kind of phones or watches, like the step counters.
Okay, yeah.
So it really is all encompassing. I'm not technologically as sound as others. However, I can sync and link with everything under the sun.
Right.
Unless you're in the Grand Canyon where there's no Wi-Fi.
Right. Yes, exactly. So somebody starts off and they get this assessment, and I can attest to assessments. I talked in this. I had an odd injury. I actually got an injury from being hugged too hard. And I know that sounds so odd, but I know I have really excited clients, as excited as I am, and I, put my arm up, biomechanics. My arm was one that maybe shouldn't have been. She was so excited. She hugged me and she squeezed too hard and something happened. And that it took 6 years. I couldn't figure, I'd had ultrasounds, I had x-rays, and it really took just a specific kind of an assessment to find out, one of my ribs on my front popped over my collarbone. But it really was that long, and it was like instant relief, and then from that point on I was able to work my shoulders and arms because I couldn't even raise my arm for all this time. So if anybody's out there and they're just wondering why they're not getting the results, whether it is from accountability, whether it is from being supported and coached, or they do need an assessment by someone who has that biomechanics awareness that you could, I do invite them to get a hold of you to even see, like, it doesn't matter where you are. So how would they get a hold of you on that? Just email you or?
So the best is always to email us, and that's michael@pursuittraining.ca. Our contact's also on our website, which is www.pursuittraining.ca. And to your point, the training individual is always so important, and a lot of the times people will come in and it's not an injury from I fell or I had a car accident. A lot of the times it's my shoulder is nagging me. It's just always been a bad shoulder, or here's my good knee, here's my bad knee, and we can't explain why. And it really links back to their biomechanics. It might be common for people to be in pain, but it's not normal. It just happens all the time. So that's where we need to address it with their training.
Okay. I love that. And once you do, I had to write that down, so common, not normal. I'm taking so many fun notes here, which I'll be happy to share on Facebook after. But so they get the assessment. You've looked at them. Maybe they've been assigned to a strength coach, as you said, or yourself, and then they now start the process of training.
Yeah, so the process of training, so the beautiful thing with the app is since we write programs for you individually, we write them for where you train and what you have. So I've got people who train at home with a set of dumbbells. I've got people who train in the gyms. I've got people who train with us, and they just want to do things on their own as well. Sometimes we need to have the person purchase a few more pieces of equipment, but that's where we can come in and say, you don't necessarily need to spend thousands of dollars. Let's match your wants and your needs with the equipment, and let's get it at the cheapest rate for you. So it fits you the best. And what we also get a lot of people, we get a lot of the busy people. So people who can't kind of dedicate the same time every day or every week. Someone who's in sales, for example, who has a floating schedule, or someone who travels a lot, but a lot of clients who travel, that's where this app is so great, because as a trainer, I need to have a set schedule because I can only have so many hours in a day to train and be in the gym. When I write you programs, it sounds silly. It makes no difference to me what time of day you do them. I just want to ensure that you do them and they get done properly. So that's really kind of one of the values for people who have scheduling problems. It's the number one issue for people with working out is I'm too busy. Number one. So that's where we can again look at it and say, one of my questions for you would be, okay, so Lisa, how many hours a week can you dedicate to training? Not what should you, realistically, what can you?
You're so funny. I literally was going to turn around and ask you, well, how many should I? I was like instinctively.
Well, and that's it, right? So this is where the individualism comes in. And I have to say, okay, so ideally, we have to look at your goals, but ideally a couple times a week. I mean, are you going to be a professional athlete training 3 times a week? No, not at all. But we're not professional athletes. So we have to look at your goals and put your actions in line with those. The average person a couple times a week. The next question is always, how long do I have to train for? I can't train 3 hours at a time. I don't recommend anyone trains 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
What we always do is under an hour. And some people come in and say 20 minutes, 25 minutes, or I'm a mom on maternity leave. I get half an hour at a time because little Billy only sleeps for a half hour. Well, that's what we have to work with. So what we have to do is we have all these different variables. You fill in the blanks, and then that's what we have to work with as coaches or as trainers for you. And that's really kind of the beauty of the app that's that's individualized. Again, a program written for everyone is really a program written for no one. And it might not fit your wants and needs. That will change over time.
Yes. Yeah. And also, too, sometimes there's a fear. This is a funny little, and this is me sharing my personal funny stories that I would probably be embarrassed about, but I'm going to do it anyway. I love to work at home. I like to have the pride. First of all, it's so much faster for, as you said, traveling. I don't have to book it. I can do it when I can. But also, too, I don't want to be around other people. I don't want to be watched. I don't want to watch others. I just want to focus. And if I look silly or if I'm embarrassed or if I can't do something, then I want to fail by myself, right? So,
of course, yeah.
I heard about, the TRX, and it doesn't have to be the TRX. It's just these, 2 straps that hang suspended from the ceiling that I can use my own body resistance to do this. But what was happening was, of course, like everybody, we put the music on to work out. Well, I just wanted to dance as opposed to working out. So I thought, I'm going to pretend that these 2 straps are my dance partner. And I could dip myself and I could swirl around. And so in my own funny way, I was trying to create this way of merging. And that's why I really love what you're saying about a program that's right for somebody, because somebody will have different enjoyment and likes, because it'll be the thing that allows them to continuing to work out. Because, it's for me, it's not about just being body beautiful at all. It'd be more about, I want to be able to carry the cat litter in from a car that's 40 pounds by myself and not have to wait for somebody to do it for me.
Completely. And that's most people. Most people that train with a trainer, it's funny, everyone envisions a bodybuilder. It's the total opposite. It's funny. I've been in the industry. I've been coaching for this is my 17th year, and I bet you I've worked with 3 or 4 bodybuilders. Because a lot of the times, bodybuilding is not something that the average person goes after. A lot of the times, people saying, "I want to carry the cat litter. I want to play with my grandkids and not hurt. I want to get through the day of work and come home and still have time to still have the energy or strength to go for a walk, or play hockey a few times a week." Like that. Those are kind of the goals that we work with. And a lot of professionals that are the ones that are using the app, or the ones that have heavy schedules, they know how valuable and important their health is. They just don't know what to do about it because there's so much conflicting information. And that's what we do, is we try to clear things up. So we give you guidelines, and we give you exactly what you need to fit your wants and needs, whatever those may be.
Right. So whether it's traveling, as you said, even to Dominican, it doesn't have to be the Grand Canyon. And just to touch slightly, because we have about a minute and a half here, but, I think about, right now we're talking about scheduling, so I'm thinking about scheduling. And, I have a few family members or friends who really do spend a lot of the time, which is so unfortunate. They're forced to spend this time being sick. And I say forced because maybe their dietary lifestyle or their lack of activity, that time that they're choosing not to exercise, healthy habits, is actually taking their own life away, their own scheduled time away, because now they have to deal with being sick. I'm having, IBS, and they're in the bathroom at the same time that somebody else is working out, or they have a migraine or headache, and they can't, they just don't feel well. So we actually can sometimes spend more time being uncomfortably sick or unmotivated that we could have been spending, enjoying a workout that was tailor-made for us. And that's what I want to support you doing, or I am in support of you offering this online training.
100%. And that's where we want to get you empowered again. That's our goal, is to empower you, whatever empowerment means to you. And that's, we want to get you kind of enjoying, kind of experiencing what health can give back to you. You have to put your time and efforts in, no question. And it always evolves. What works now is not going to work a month from now or 2 months from now. But that's our goal, is we want to get you empowered to do the things that you want to do, whatever those things may be.
And with that, I just want to highlight before we sign off here, this is Michael Finigan from Pursuit Training. And I would like to say that it's more of, like you said, experience what health can give back to you. So thank you, Michael, so much. Please, everybody, go to your site, pursuittraining.ca. And just absolutely I feel so motivated right now. So thank you very much, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. We will talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye, everyone.